Here they come to the line now, and it looks like the alignment's pretty good, although we left a couple of them back in the trail. One of them is one of Leland's boats. If they come to the line and get the green, they do. The Budweiser goes off on the 5-lane out front. He obviously can come across as he's starting to do now because there's absolutely no one behind him. He comes into the corner, but once again, Stephen David has some excellent boat speed through the lower corner. Oh, look out for the Elam's on top of the Budweiser.
Oh, my God.
Elam just climbed on top of the Budweiser.
And it's heading for the log boom.
It's heading for the log boom. They're still...
Oh, it's very close. It's very close. And it looks like it will not tag the log boom. Hopefully there were no swimmers in the water.
He is literally on top of the boat.
Here we go again.
Once again.
Flare goes off. Racing stops.
Oh, my God. This is not good.
Highly unlikely that that the driver of the Elam is injured, but we don't know about the canopy of that Budweiser. Now, there goes the lid on the Elam, and out comes Jimmy King. The real question is Mark Webber.
Yeah, and I don't know what... They're going to have to go through the bottom of the boat. They're going to have to get divers underneath the boat.
Yeah, he's definitely sitting on it. There's no way they're going to open it from up above.
There is a trap door, the one we just saw that Mark Evans come out of. They can use it.
Jimmy King is
checking on him right now.
He is indeed. He wants to be certain. He says hurry up.
He says hurry.
He says hurry. Jimmy King is trying to get the divers there quickly. This is a real complicated rescue because at any time that upper hydroplane could shift off the lower one and change things real rapidly in terms of the rescue condition there. So these guys are in a real perilous condition right now.
Steve, this is the driver's greatest fear, is a collision. The blowovers are nothing compared to this. This is the worst that can be, is the collisions.
Few people have lived to talk about collisions. You were one of them, obviously, and you know that's a scary situation. You were in one.
Oh, it was just the worst. I'll never forget as long as I live, and I'll tell you, my heart's beating right now real hard, and my prayers for Mark Webber here.
Very anxious. Jimmy King standing on the right sponson of the Budweiser. He's helpless. He cannot do anything, and he can only hope that his friend is going to be all right in there. His sponson sitting literally on the deck lid. No way that he's going to be able to get in that way. They're going to have to take him from the bottom, as you said, Scott.
The thing that I'm really thankful for is the skid fin is obviously off to the side.
Right,
so
it sliced nothing. It's still in the water.
He's probably broken the canopy. You know, that canopy has come off the last 2 times that Chip Hanauer crashed the boat. It's conceivable with 6,000 pounds on. I don't think any canopy could withstand that. I don't care if you build it out of kryptonite.
I see people applauding on the log boom as though they may have some word before us.
Let's hope they do know something we don't.
Let's hope they do.
Did I just see the Bud drive? Did I see them getting out? I see one on the deck. Let's see.
That's Jimmy King.
There's Jimmy King. Check the rest of that rescue.
There he is. He is in the rescue boat.
He's up. He's sitting up. He's talking to the rescuers. Mark Webber has made it out of the race boat. Boy, does he have a story to tell. Oh, my.
Well, gentlemen, we've done these races for a lot of years. We've seen a couple go over, but I think in 1-2 heat sequence, I don't know that we've seen as much as we have seen here today. One stacked on top of the other. My word, and at this point at least, and again, we knock on wood here, they will, as you've said before,
boy, is
Mark Webber looks a little upset, actually.
He is really disgusted.
But he looks well, and that is the key again. They will be taken in to check in the field hospital, but let's take a look at the replay, see if we can see these two boats come together and stick.
Okay, they're very, very close right here. Jimmy King gets his boat up in the air.
His skid fin let go there. Obviously, he jumped out one lane, and he rode right up the sponson, the left sponson of the Budweiser, and just parked it right on top.
Heavens. How fast are they going in that curve right
now? Oh, they're right there at that. That's 165, 170 mile an hour, and what happened is Jimmy just couldn't hold his lane, and he just rolled right up on top of it. Now they're piggybacking along. I've never seen anything like it.
Watch this
again. From directly above. There he goes. The skid fin. Now watch it let go. Let's go there. He slides across up on top.
Oh, my. Yeah. And these boats are heading now 100 miles an hour.
For the log boom.
There's lots of room, but let's just see. Keep that shot going if we can and see just how close. Oh,
Note the swimmers in the water there. There's the ones I was worried about. Boy, they scatter in a hurry.
That's within feet, literally within feet of the log boom out there.
6,500 pounds of hydroplane.
Good night.
That is an incredible, incredible, incredible shot. I just...
Well, there may be some concerns from here on out about quite frankly, how close do you keep a log boom or let the pleasure craft get to the course? But at this point,
well,
the story is we got two drivers, and they look to be healthy as they're in the rescue boat now, Mike.
And
Scotty,
thank God the public's all right.
You and I, Scotty, had this conversation yesterday afternoon at the base of the pit tower. We were talking about 7 boats making starts. We were talking about how little lane there is with a course brought closer to shore, and how it's time for us to try to at least leave some drivable lanes out there and leave some space where if a guy does come out of lane, he's going to be able to come back down in the water. I think this may cause some rethinking with respect to that.
We're going down to the pits right now. Bernie Little, the owner of the Budweiser team, is with our Tony Ventrella.
We're with Bernie Little. Actually, Bernie didn't get much better look at it than I did from this vantage point, but it looks like your driver is okay, and so is the other drivers.
Well, of course, that's the main thing, is that both drivers are in good shape, but from what I understand, the skid pin come off of the Elam boat, and he just kept right on going over the top of us, and that's just really too bad, because, you know, it really puts us out of the boat racing. And it was nobody's fault. That's a boat racing incident, I guess you'd have to call it. But anyhow, we all know as much as each other, so they tell me they're towing the boat in with one up on top of the other, so we'll see what happens.
I've never liked inverted lanes. What do you think of them?
I hate them, always have. Voted against them. Ridiculous thing. If you want to hurt people, that's the way to do it. Put a fast boat on the outside so he's got to pass everybody. You know, because if we're here to win, then that's the only way you can win. So,
Gotta change the rules back.
Well, I hope so.
All right. You heard it from Bernie. You know what he thinks of that rule.
They'll probably change it here in the next 3 minutes.
I think they will.
Say, not at a loss for words is Bernie Little ever.
Actually, gentlemen, there is some separation occurring of the two race boats. They are now kind of 90 degrees to one another out there. As you can see from the air, both of the drivers being brought back in the UHRA rescue boat, but there is some separation. The Elam has slid off the deck of the Budweiser now, at least partially.
I'm looking around the Budweiser camp. I don't see any other boats down there. They came to race.
No, they only have one boat.
One boat today.
That's all they had, and they couldn't have entered another boat anyway. Once you declare in the morning, just the same situation with Pico. But and on a personal note, I got to tell you that my wife Susie and Jamie have got to be ecstatic that I decided to sit here today and not drive these boats. I know they're in our motorhome here in the pits, and this is just so nerve-wracking. I can't believe
it. It is frightening when you see it happen again. Happily, everybody's all right. One of the drivers who saw it all happen through his canopy was Steve David, and he's with our Rick Corella in the pits. Rick?
Well, you have to take a little of that back. Steve didn't see what happened because he was leading that race. Steve?
Unfortunately, it was all in my rearview mirror. I was just concentrating where I was going. But I think we were leading that other heat, and we were leading that one. That's 2 laps left. I think we should be a winner. What do you think?
At the rate we're getting these heats in, it very well may be.
I'm just glad the guys are okay. That's not the way you want to win races, and I hope they're both okay and the boats come back out and get the fight with us again.
We're looking for a very good heat.
They will restart this heat again, I assume, but it's going to take a while now to bring the 2 boats back over and to see if anything can be done.
The 3 boats will be out, Steve, and the Pico's obviously still not eligible. They were the original reason, and of course Elam and Budweiser will both be out.
Well, with these drivers both out of it, this wackiness that has occurred out here, this demolition derby we've seen thus far, and we are still, Scotty, less than 1/4 of the way through this race.
Well, as we spoke yesterday, Mike, you know, this is not really totally unexpected. I mean, there's a lot of fast boats. And
it really isn't, but this allows a couple of camps suddenly to have their stock rise very quickly. One of them we just spoke with, Stephen David, who obviously has something to show us and has only made it through a first turn twice and led and had to stop because of somebody else's incident, but also the DeWalt tools, and both of these teams are beginning to look like this race may come to them.
Well, they certainly will with the handling problems, and Mark Tate's still experiencing it. And I'll tell you another guy that could sneak in here and have one heck of a finish is Nate Brown. His boat looked extremely good, and he's looking good.
All right, as they bring the boats in, guys, and the drivers as well, they'll be checked. We're going to take time. We're going to catch our breath, let you do the same. We promise when we come back at some point, they will be racing again. Stay tuned. As as we pick up the start of this race and see if we can follow along, and we'll just pick this whole sequence back up again. What do you guys see? Is there anything here that tells you there could be any problem up to this point?
Not at this moment, not at all. As a matter of fact, the only thing I was concerned about was the last rooster tail on the left here being a trailer boat, and the possibility that the red boat would close the door on him if he were between them. He wasn't. It happens here when the skid pin lets go. There it goes. It broke twice on the bumps and came across the boat. This is incredible, though, but the race boat is just sitting very stably. That's the impossible thing to believe. It's sitting so stably atop the cockpit. But this is the part we're frightened. Look at the swimmers ahead of this. I mean, they are so close.
Look at people diving off the boats. They are not sure that those two boats won't come right into the stern of the power craft that are tied up to the log boom.
Well, they actually turned, or they would have run right through them.
Exactly.
The boats turned, obviously, on their own, or maybe Mark Webber turned the wheel.
Well, let's find out.
We'll have to ask him, because if he had
But look at this right here. See, he kept his lane open all the way down, and then Mark Webber in the Budweiser does move in, which is his right to do. But what happens is the Budweiser is moving to the inside, and the Elam's coming to the outside, and that doesn't work.
No, that's exactly right, and because of these low-profile decks, it just slid right up the slope of the deck, right up the crown, and climbed right up onto the engine, basically, because the cowling was shattered and went away right away, as you note. So he's really sitting right on top of the turbine engine there.
I can't imagine that Mark Webber can see anything out of what's left of that,
look at the
cockpit windshield.
Look at it turn. It literally turns.
And you will note, too, how tight it turned and how dangerously tight a turn it had to be for the last driver through to get out of there, which was, of course, Brian Reynolds. He had a tight arc as well. He was outside of them. And, boy, he had to really, really whip that wheel to the left to avoid colliding and becoming the third boat involved in that.
Mike, one of the officials has been flying with our Chopper 7 Clark Stahl, saw all of that happen. I understand now, I've been told, that the officials are discussing, at least at this point, discussing. They are coming down near our truck, I believe, to take a look at the replays, take a look at the tapes to see what happened, and they may, in fact, make a determination that they want to move the log boom back. At any rate, they are down near our control truck at this point, and they're going to take a look. All the officials, Bill Donor there, the commissioner.
Mark Allen Seafarer's there, the technical director Ed Nelson there, and they're coming into our tape room right now, into our portable tape room down in the pit area, to have a look at, obviously, the video that you folks at home have been viewing 2 or 3 times.
It's an insurance issue.
Sure it is.
We have an underwriting company that insures this event for the participants and the spectators alike, and these boundaries are set on things that historically have been, far enough away. And unfortunately, in this situation, it appears we were just right on the limit of that. It's impossible to move the log boom. That cannot happen simply because there's huge blocks, as we saw earlier in the show, that are anchored on the bottom straight underneath the log boom. So the log boom cannot be moved to continue running the race today.
The only thing you can do is remove a few hundred boats.
I'm here with Bernie Little in the Budweiser camp. Bernie, there's some suggestion about moving the log boom back.
Yes, I think it's past due. I think we should have done that upon qualifying probably the first day, but I'm real proud of the medics. All said to us, I just left the trailer over there with boat drivers. They were fine, but the medics that rescued them said that they thought sure they were into the houseboats because they're just so close out there that you can ask any of the drivers. It's just too dangerous. It's one thing, our drivers are equipped with life jackets, helmets, everything. That's one thing. They're equipped. They go upside down. You've seen them both come out of there and fine. But to run into one of those boats out there and hurt some children or something, I don't want no part of that.
I know Mark did a tremendous effort right at the end, turned the boat left, and got the thing cruising away.
That's right.
Keeping his head at a time like that is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, it really was, because he was heading straight for the log boom. And, being in that outside lane out there at the speeds we got to run, first off, we're running inverted lanes, which to me, I voted against it before. I've always been against it, and I'll always be against it. When you put the fastest boat in the world on the outside lane, he's got to pass 6 boats and cut in on them. All that's going to do is make their water awful rough, and somebody's going to get hurt. So the inverted lane has proven today that that's really not the way to go. I think that you earn your way on a race course. You're the fastest qualifier. You get your lane choice. And, I think that instead of having inverted lanes, I just really think they ought to let us go racing and race the way we know that's safe, and that is not safe.
Bernie. I think intimate is a good word for what Mark Webber was in that accident. An incredible set of circumstances. What do you see from your view?
We went into turn one, and then I corrected twice because Jimmy kept coming out. And I'm not saying, you know, Jimmy could have got on hook. That's racing. I'm not going to sit here and point fingers. But bottom line is I corrected twice, and the second time when he lifted up, he was already up over the top of me. And you just sort of ride it out. I mean, it's, you know, it really wasn't that big of a deal. It landed right on top. Big question about the Budweiser cockpit the last 2 weeks. Well, there's living proof. Ronnie Brown built the best cockpit in the country. That's just the way it goes. I want to get that boat in here. I want to go racing.
Could you visibly see the log boom coming up on you? I know from the tape it looks like you're turning hard left to get the boat moving away from the people.
No, what it is you just instinct. When I had so much weight on the front of the boat, the canopy pretty much was filled with water. I just turned left, knowing that obviously I would finish the turn as hard as I could, but I didn't have probably much rudder because so much weight on the front. I couldn't see where I was going. I just took it off, waited for it, and finally stopped. It seemed like it took a long time to stop, and I was getting a little concerned.
Your best guess on damage when you got out of the boat? The canopy's still in one piece? You think sponsons, everything else is there?
Well, I can't tell you about the canopy because obviously he was on top of me. The right sponsor's got a couple holes in it, but the deck's not a problem. You know, I went through the bottom of the canopy, obviously. So it's really hard to say. If there's a boat left, that Miss Budweiser will be running again today.
There's some optimism from the Bud pits.
Rick Carella, thank you.
Thanks, Steve. Jimmy King, the driver of the Elam, with us. First of all, you're not sure your status the rest of the day, or your boat's status is still up in the air.
Yeah, I really haven't had a chance to talk to the owner, Eric Elfstrom, and the crew chiefs and that, and find out what we're going at. But looking around, we got a little bit of damage on the rudder, but they got to take a good hard look at it and see what the deal is.
What did you see out there from your vantage point? You saw a boat underneath you, but right before that.
We were running down in the front straightaway, and the thing was getting a little bit light, and thought I had it down a couple times, and then just as we entered the corner and it really got light, I thought I was going over, and Mark was underneath me, and that's the only thing that kept me from going upside down.
Did you see people coming toward you, going towards people on the log boom out there in the pleasure boats? How close did you get? Was it too close for comfort?
It definitely got our attention until it stopped. You know.
That's a nice way to put it. So you didn't have much power, obviously, of overdoing anything there.
There was absolutely nothing we could do at that time. We just hold on and hope for the best, and everything worked out fine.
Okay, so you're waiting to see. You might know in a few minutes whether you're going to run. You are ready to go if your boat's ready, right?
If the boat's ready to go, we're ready to race.
Okay, Jimmy. Good luck the rest of the day.
Thank you much.
Okay. Jimmy King, it's been a wild day, and might flip around, actually, if we can, or come back to us in a few minutes and just look closely at what they're doing down here, Steve, to the Elam. It's work that probably could be done in time, but it's a decision to be made by the 4 owners of this boat as to whether they want to get back in the water today. So